Hello Virgos. This reading is for October 2020. But before I lay out the cards to see what is approaching for you, I really need to talk to you about what is happening astrologically this month because it's huge and I'm not going to sugarcoat it. There's definitely some challenges, but I would like to offer you hopefully some advice on how to glide through October as easily as possible. So the first thing is we have not one but two full moons. The first full moon is on the 1st and the second full moon is on the 31st. So they completely bookend the entire month and they are both challenging moons. The first one is in Aries and it's in an awkward configuration with Mars, which is going backwards in Aries, and it also is dealing with the wounded healer planet. And so a lot of us around that first full moon are going to have a lot of emotions coming up. We might have short tempers, and also it might just bring up feelings of frustration about why you don't have what you want or why you can't get what you're looking for. And I'm just going to suggest, if that's the case with you, to whatever that thing is that is the most frustrating, whether it's a relationship or a project or whatever, set it aside until November because it'll still be there, and give yourself a break because this whole month we have Mars going backwards, we have Mercury going retrograde, and it's just going to be so hard to progress forward. This month is really going to be more about dealing with things that are coming up from the past. And then we have that second full moon on Halloween, which is a couple days before the American presidential election, and a lot of people are really going to be dealing with a lot of security issues that are just going to be right at the surface, and Uranus is going to come in and create a really unstable environment. So please lay low and be careful on Halloween. Keep it small, keep it mellow. And I wouldn't engage with anybody if there's a potential for a meltdown. And that's really what I've got to say for the whole month. So what would October be good for? Well, I think this is the perfect October to do sober October. If you really surrender to these energies, sober October is the perfect thing to do. Now, why? Because retrogrades are a lot about release. So why not release, booze or pot for the month? And guess what happens when the month is up? You probably lost weight, you got more money in your pocket, and your liver and your body are thanking you. And then it's, the party will be good to go by the second week in November. And you'll be better and stronger for it. That's how I would use, literally how I would use the energies of October, but also figuratively. What do you need to let go of so that when stuff really does start moving forward again, you're lighter and you're more, set up for success. Okay, let's see what the cards have in store for you. Ooh, you get the star. That's a really great place to start. Interesting. Okay, Virgo, this first sort of core energy here is really, there's this really expansive energy and then there's this really contracted energy. And you are definitely going to be having a bit of a tussle between the two, right? The star is really about hope and excitement and freedom, and then the Eight of Swords is all about self-imposed, basically self-imposed jail, So one of the things I'm going to say, in order to set yourself free from this, number one, realize that you may feel like you're in some existential prison, but the door isn't locked. So how do you open the door? Number one, cultivate hope, right? When the star is around, you are definitely being watched over and there are blessings coming to you. Keep your eyes open for your blessings. And if you pray, I would pray. The other thing is this is an energy that's really coming up it's really about experimentation, right? And that's an expansiveness. You don't have to have follow through with this. Follow through is not a moral issue, okay? Follow through is appropriate for some situations and it's not appropriate for other situations. So one of the ways to set yourself free is harness the energy of the star and the Two of Pentacles by trying out something new, right? Without any expectation of what it's going to get you, without any pressure on yourself to become an expert at it. Do this in many, many different ways. You know, experiment with cooking, experiment with your neighborhood, experiment with your relationship in a new way of communication, even if it's teeny tiny. This is how you can set yourself free. So what's interesting to me is your guides are saying you're on your way, you're on the right path, okay? It's interesting to me that this is showing up in October. I think they don't want you to panic if you're not making a lot of progress this month. They want you to know that you're already on the right path. You've made some good decisions and you will see a promotion in your life at some point down the road. But given this astrological weather, the only place this really would come from is any investments that you did in the past. So if there's something that you had tried to do, there's something you invested in and you are just waiting to see the results, you could very well see the results from a past effort this month. This wouldn't probably be a new project though, okay? If they are talking about a new project, they're just telling you hang in there. October probably isn't the month you're going to see a lot of movement. In your relationship world, you are being represented by the Eight of Pentacles. Now, when I try and figure out what that energy is in relationship to relationship, there is a practicality here, but a lot of it oftentimes is about front-loading labor. So if we're talking about that in a relationship, it would be, you know, what I would call maybe good relationship hygiene, right? Like, are you setting aside time for each other? This is if you're in a committed relationship, okay? But, you know, are you tending to the externals on a more practical level to allow the magic to happen on the internal level? So for those of you who are in long-term relationships, you know, with temperance around, there definitely is an adjustment that wants to be made, okay? So definitely look at things like, is someone resentful because of the dishes? Well, let's cure that problem, right? Are people not getting enough sleep? Are you not having enough time together? Or are you having too much time together? This is practical. This is external stuff that needs to be worked on. Now, if you're single and you're looking for love, this would be being somewhat proactive about it, right? Which would be like, this also oftentimes is an adult student. So this would be following some sort of interest, and there will be an adjustment in your love life from that towards the positive. So there's definitely sort of a practical energy to your love life here this month, which is interesting because it's, you know, I guess I'm just going to call it practical magic. Sometimes you have to do the practical stuff to make space for the magic to happen, right? You can't just wish it to happen. You got to like do A plus B, and then now you have space for, you know, enjoying your love life. This can be true also for just any relationship in your life that means a lot to you. Like, do you need to actually reach out and get in touch with a friend instead of sort of assuming that that friendship is going to keep going? You know, so definitely reach out this month. Your outcome's interesting. Again, sort of connected to this experiment card, we have a new interest card. So there's a lot here about following interests this month. And that leads to Tower energy. Sometimes what this means is it's a lightning bolt of truth out of the blue. So definitely, I will say, a great antidote for if you're sort of in your own way, or you sort of have put yourself in some sort of thought prison. A great antidote is definitely the Tower, because that's a lightning bolt of inspiration out of the blue. Oftentimes, though, it can be a little uncomfortable because sometimes the self-imposed prison is super comfy, right? Like, you know, everything that's going to happen in a day when you're in there. It's a little scary to get into unknown experimental territory, right? So, but this is going to happen this month no matter what. Again, how will it happen? Most likely it'll happen from, you know, inner work and like I said, dealing with stuff from the past rather than moving forward. And then we have this little gem at the end, the Lovers. This bodes well for love relationships. And also, coming on the other side of the Tower, sometimes what happens is we sort of were afraid to make a decision or afraid to move, and then we were inspired to, and then we have to make a decision. But the decision, even if that decision incorporates something that you have to give up, it's because you get more down the road, so don't be afraid. So, my Virgo friends, please stay safe and lay low, and just realize for everything there is a season, and this October is a season for, I would say, being more security oriented, safety oriented, internally oriented. Okay? I will check back in with you next month, and until then, I hope you have a beautiful life. Okay, bye.